It's not even 4 in the morning yet, so I don't want to turn on all the lights because it's earlier than yesterday, and I've got this weird thing. So I feel like I look like this floating head or something in the dark. So anyways, I don't know what it looks like, but to me it looks strange. But it's way too early to turn on all the lights. Ugh. I swear to God, last night, every night, I swear, is some own thing. It's its own deal. And last night didn't disappoint. It was its own deal again. God, this whole experience is just so strange. And it's something that's like, other people have also noticed in their lives how it seems almost, let me turn this down some. This is hard to get this, it's weird. You should see, it's so weird. The whole little setup, it's so weird. It's so, I'm telling you, it's so chintzy too. Hold on. I gotta turn the little thing, see if that's better. Okay, so, let me think, because there was a few things I wanted to talk about. There was things on my mind all night. Well, the fucking, that guy coming to my driveway. Well, it was more than one. Only one got out. So I don't even know if it was a guy or a girl on the other side. And I keep trying in my mind's eye, to go in, like zoom in on the badge thing he was showing. And I keep thinking it seems like it would be something more, the Secret Service thing. I just don't see how it's something with the house thing. I don't know. It still is so creepy. It's creepy. And, and I've got a lot of different thoughts and feelings about it, I mean, I know it's like a test for me. One of the things too, to me is in the test is to keep remembering, kind of like what I was talking about in that weird science where confirmation and kind of like when the boys realize that they hold the magic, that they're in a magical realm and that they hold the magic and that they stand up to the bikers. And so I feel like it's kind of like that. Like we're getting an opportunity to see our own strength and our own power. But it's like in the weird science, it's like they're real tough, and then you lean in on them, and all of a sudden they just back down. And, I kind of get that image in my mind about it. And and I know there's things about going full circle and the things that we're here to champion ourselves, stand up for ourselves, all those kinds of things. Or going in a certain direction, which you could go through and break it down in different people's lives and take all sorts of scenarios, and you would see these certain patterns, these certain things playing out. It's so much of it has to do with people just were in a place they didn't know how to get themselves out of. They didn't think they deserved better. We were just in a bad place in humanity. And so, this all had to go down. People all keep thinking, like, if they could understand it on the spiritual side, on the energetic side, it wouldn't seem so horrible and tragic as what it seems. But there's a purpose to this 3D imagination game. So there's a purpose to it. So you can't shame anybody for whatever their perspective is. And sometimes I feel like I'm doing that all the time, like coming across as judgmental or whatever, like hyper focused on certain things. But the thing that I've been hyper focused on, which they've shown me my whole life, it got me through, pedo dad. My relationship with my mom was the most difficult, strangely enough. It was easier to stand up to my dad. My mom always made it really hard to stand up to. And I know there's a lot of women who have moms like, a lot of boys who have moms like this. Like, super, super defensive. Like, and always on, when they're defensive, they're always on the attack back. And which is a very, very wounded person, but it's a hard person to deal with. And, you know, I don't know her inner pain. I know she's tried to deal with it in ways. I think that's a part of her, like, animal hoarding, is to show herself that she has love. But that's the sad thing, is when you don't heal your wounds and you just pack them in, you become somebody that you're not. It made me cry. But I know that relationship had more, because how they've shown me is how we have a connection. Like, there's a weird thing. Like, think about, like, when you're in there doing something, whether you're a man or a woman, I don't know. I know this happens a lot with women. And since that's what I'm here to experience at this time, I can speak more on that. But that you will be doing something, like something so insignificant to do. Like, I'm in there yesterday wiping my counters, and all of a sudden I was my mom wiping the counters. It was like I felt like I was my mom. And that kind of thing has always weirded me out ever since it started happening when I was young. And it would always trip me out. And I would, it always would catch my attention. And then I started hearing other people talk about it, and that would also catch my attention. And then when they fill in the blanks and stuff, they filled in a lot of blanks recently about so many things, you know. And but the significance of what our true connection is, just like what I keep talking about, it is this gradation in learning. So that we have these certain lessons that we're connected with in this, like a long thing between many, many of us. And it's such a big lesson, and it's so significant to the impact. Like I said, it's different levels of games going on all the time. And it's so significant in the link of this learning, and everybody comes in on these certain parts, like this baton, and that is this long lesson that is shown. No matter how it goes, that is what's shown. And so it's very significant. But I think that is this part of, like, where we feel all of a sudden we're this other person, because we're super connected in these ways. And it is, it's not, I mean, it's like I said, it's anything you have it to be. It's not, it isn't even what, once we have awareness, we can direct it, and we can look at things more clearly, and we can see what we're doing so that we make decisions for ourselves. But before then, you know, everything is based on intentions. You know, just like that girl sitting there putting it out there, you know, as a spiritual person, leading all these newly spiritual people who are trying to heal and awaken to go out and get revenge. This is a good time, get revenge. And it's like, oh my God. And now, you know, her karmic lesson would be based on her intention. It's a barometer you can't get away from. It's one, but you know, there's a lot of people who are putting energy out in their spiritual ignorance. They have no idea what they're doing. They really don't know the impact that they're creating for themselves. And so that is like where I try and spread more information, you know, because luckily, you know, there was some weirdos like me who looked into spirituality our whole lives. We're interested in it, you know, read about it, learned about it, watched it in our own lives, tampered with, you know, we're trying to figure it out the whole time. You know, if we were all lost in the dark, luckily I wasn't as drawn into the dark like that, you know, and it helped me, I think, when they started communicating with me right away, is, you know, I always knew they were watching and stuff. Like, you know, I would always talk about things like, even when I made reference about the threesome thing the other day, I've had so many people try and trap me into situations, and my guides would be like, run, 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 you know. I've been a, you know, a weirdo a lot of times in certain situations, because I don't have that, you know, that perversion interest or something. If I lived a life of perversion and following my impulses, it was a different life than this one. This one, it seems like a lot of people, you know, that is, and it seems like, because there's so many different experiences in it. The people who struggle with having like husbands addicted to corn, and then the wives are having to deal with that. Like, there's so many different experiences through the whole thing, where our society has gotten on their look at the way they look at children and animals. Because also the senator he got so busted on his bestiality, like in 40 years of it or something, this sicko pervert, and he's just out there doing it in the park on a camera. Like, well, but everything, there's nothing you can do. If you're putting out a certain energy, it's going to come back on you. That's just the way it is. It's just the energy that we're in, the time we're in. And that is, so it's a self-reflection. So you can see yourself. So you can see yourself clearly. I'm still in that part where I haven't seen myself. Like, you guys always give me like a great feedback of, you know, like I'm helping, you know, that people like to listen to what I have to say. It helps them in some way. And so, you know, that's really good feedback. But there's also the universe, because the universe is the ones who have been telling me to do this. The universe has been telling me what is going to happen. So that's the kind of the part that I'm waiting, because of what they've told me. And what, you know, like, I've been doing what they said. So let's, you know, so I'm at this other part. I so appreciate y'all. Like, y'all don't even know how much that helps me, and how much I'll get a certain message when I have a certain thing. Like, I'll be, I don't know, whining to the universe. like, why? And then somebody will send me a really nice message about, you know, how much I helped them. And then it is, you know, and I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. Because it was supposed to be, that's what's important. That's the part that I need to keep remembering. And so, it's, you know, but things are going to get like bigger. The healing thing, the mental healing thing, it's like, after World War II, imagine all the tents set up with all of the battered soldiers and all of the people who were injured and stuff. What's going to be like that, only it's going to be more of a mental. It's going to make me start crying. Just when you feel the energy, it's just like, oh, it's so sad. But that's the part that is going to help humanity. It's going to move us forward. Stell, please stop. Let me finish this, okay? God, you're so dramatic. God, it's only 4:06. I swear, she'd be laying there snoring and snoring and snoring. And the second I move, it's like, okay, we're getting up. I got this I want done. I was thinking about this. Could you go do this for me? It just starts. It's just like, oh my God, girl, give me a fucking minute. And then it's this whining. I already gave you some medicine stuff, Stella. You need to just go lay on your bed. Let me finish what I'm doing. Don't even know what in the world you want me to do. It's like we've done everything twice already. Some things 3 times. It's like, come on, girl. It's like, give me a minute. It's like when people sit there and comment about, what's all that snoring? What's all that snoring? And I don't even hear it. I'm just like focused on what I'm doing. I don't even realize. I just know I've got a free moment. And somebody's not asking me to do something for them. Like, a smart dog can be as challenging as a developmentally delayed child, I think, is I think that I see states of conscious. I see it all different than a lot of other people. So, um, anyways, the so what was I gonna say? Because it was like two or three things coming in at one time. Because that was kind of linked. Because I still have it open about the thing, the guy at the gate. So I still wanted to finish that. But this opened up into it was something I had just seen. Oh yeah, and this could be like a Reddit story or whatever. You know, like when you hear these stories, like the one of the stairs and stuff, like all those were some sort of Reddit whistleblower, uh, park ranger in training stories that we're doing all about the stairs. But I know that there's portals and stuff. So, you know, whether or not they're, however it is, I think they're probably really stairs. I think that those are probably really true stories. But this story kind of reminded me of that. And I think there's a lot of crazy Reddit stories, but I also think that there's stories like David Wilcock. He would always tell his friend's story from college. When his friend went to go get an interview, this impacted David Wilcock so much because his friend went to get an interview when they were in college, and it was for, I don't remember. I mean, it could have been NASA or something, but whatever it was that the guy was talked about at the interview, then he knew that there was aliens or something. And so that really impacted David Wilcock. That's what sent him on the whole thing, changed, you know. But that's what I'm saying is how when you notice the things through your life that were directing you all the time, you've always had a way, you always had a plan, you always had someplace you were going to be, always. From the time you're born, you always had somewhere you were going to be. It's you who keep trying to influence the trip. You keep trying to direct it, but it always was going on its own. You always were going to have the people coming in who you're supposed to meet, who were going to keep you on a path that was going to direct you to where you were supposed to go. It's your own frustration that you find, that you feel when you're trying to control it. So you're trying to make something happen. You're trying to follow someone else's dream. So you become frustrated and you don't even pay attention to your own. And then all of the different people you come in contact with, you become frustrated because they're not all great relationships. They're not all fun times. And that bothers you. So when you get into sync, though, with what you're doing here, and the whole process, it becomes so much more productive and so much more enjoyable. That's my influence that I want to have is that, people can improve your life when you go into the deeper meaning of life. When you go deeper into it, you can improve it. You can feel better. But it's up to each person. And it is each person's own influence by the dark, the allure. It is so much of what they would say in those old movies. The lights and the lights of the city and all the sin and stuff and the allure and how people would want more. Oh, I just don't want to just sit out here in this mountain town and listen to banjo players and dance around on my porch with everybody and kick back and smoke out of my little pipe. And, I don't want that. I want to go in and see what's going on in the cities. And, there became an allure because it's an energy cloud of darkness. It's kind of like that. That's why they control these areas, because they can contain this energy clouds of darkness, and it does hold an energy of crime, corruption. It's where so much stuff happens. So much. Like when you go further out from the cities, what are the things that happen? Farming accidents, somebody getting hurt on a big piece of machinery. And then, the sad thing is all of these things could have been so, the technology is so advanced, but they keep us back in the like the 50s. And you know, another thing that is so crazy right now, and I haven't even finished this other thing with the Reddit story, but all these pictures, like you get on one of those start following some of those people who are into that. Like, I love the maps things, the hidden truth things, the code breakers. This one with uh not the maps, the history ones, the hidden history. So many old pictures of like from the 1800s where everything was empty. Like, it's weird because they have found some, but it's set up. It's like a movie set up with the people going and stuff. It's weird. They'll look at the camera. It's really weird. And so it's like they set up a movie set to make it look like there was something going on in the 1800s. And maybe it was part of the state fair, was the allure to bring people in, because this new fantastic place, because they found some cities apparently that already were built, like from the Tartarians. And the Tartarians, they were wiped out at one of the resets. Like, I'm not even sure what all's gone on. That could have been a whole battle with the aliens and stuff, because that is what is in the Reddit story. And the Reddit story ties into so many different things that I've talked about before. Like with Allison Coe and some of her QHHT sessions, with what I had just talked about the other day with those guys like Corey Good. What are those called? The secret space guys, whatever they're called. I can't think of it. But I think there's 3 or 4 of them out, like on Cosmic Disclosure. You'd have to listen to all of them for their authenticity and stuff, and decide. But the one who has also become one of the guys who asks the questions to the other guys, what is that, the interviewer on some of these things, I can't think of his name, and I'm sure he was on the Laura Eisenhower one too. And when I was talking about that, it was what he was talking about. So that's what this Reddit story is saying. So this is a guy who's a whistleblower that was working in government building, and he went to the wrong floor to get something, got called in to the wrong meeting. And he was in this meeting with this small amount of guys, and they watched this video. And in this video, he said it was Congress up making, I don't know, it's not called an amendment, like a peace treaty. And they were up there acknowledging a peace treaty with the reptilians. And they said that their hands were tied, and that they feel very much like they didn't know what to do, like there was no right decision. He said all the different Congress people in the thing all looked super stressed. Everybody looked sick. Everybody just looked like they hadn't slept. Everybody looked bad. And the beings, he said you couldn't see them. It looked like just blur in the seats. So in the film, all you could see was blurring. It was a black and white video. And so he said that they all looked, just so sick. And he said basically that the reptilians had come. And so it seems like it would be back around Eisenhower, which I think this is something that Laura Eisenhower has talked about too. But that they made a treaty with them. They would either wipe out all of us out right then, or they could make this treaty thing with the reptilians, and that we were their food source. Because we are the only thing. We should all be excited and happy as we have this great part to play in the universe, because we are the only thing that they like to eat. They're the only nourishment that they can find is us. That's it. That's the only thing that feeds these motherfuckers. It's us. And obviously our organs. Those organs, boy, those are tasty treats. But so Congress agreed, or our government agreed, that they could eat us on the reg. It's fine. And that that keeps the rest of us alive. And the ones that they don't eat each year, we're expected to procreate to make new ones for them to eat. And there's so much different stuff that I've heard about this on the other side of it, where like that guy from the hidden space program thing, he talks about he's worked at the places where it's like they bring in truckloads of people, but the reptilians like live ones. So we have all these people going missing all the time, but they're not really going missing. They're just processed for food. And this group that was the tape was this was the containment of human consciousness group or something. And they they need to keep us under wraps. They need to keep us under control. Like I mean, that would be too much if we knew we were someone's food source and that was all okay. Like, this stuff is creepy. And the QHHT things, one of the ladies said she was at one of those processing plants or something, and she was seeing all these like train loads of bodies of humans coming in, and that some were coming in alive, and that people were these other people, other beings, because when you're out in these galactic trade centers, it is all different people. Like in you can watch these guys talk about it at like Corey Good and stuff, but it seems like it's kind of like Star Wars, like when they go to the bar or whatever, like it's all these different kinds of beings, but some will come and buy the humans and that are alive, and they will take them to their house and put them in cages, like how we do with monkeys and stuff, and how we put birds and stuff in cages. So it's done to us by other beings. And I would think that has to do with a soul. All these things are each soul thing. Like, nothing can happen to us. It's not supposed to happen to us. Everything that happens to us is all by design. Just like you don't have to do anything. Your life is still going to play out. It is more of you are fighting the energy and trying to redirect it. And so you are manifesting more negatively, or you go with the energy and you relax into it and you get into harmony. And as things are scary and stuff, that you go inward, inside, and try and understand what's going on and how to find peace with it. And I'm nervous wreck because I know this guy's not going to just go away. Somebody's going to come back. And I don't know if it's going to be today. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. I hope, because when I keep hearing people talk about the government shutdown that starts today, where they're all concerned, like they aren't thinking about the government. I'm thinking about this as the cover so that all these people are all really gone. And it's like this sweeping of the Congress floor or something. And but all the people who I hear talking about are all talking about their concerns because that shuts down all the programs. So it would be like I wouldn't get my Social Security, you can't get food stamps, you can't, like all of that kind of stuff. But I don't know, that stuff seems to be on just a regular thing. So I don't know, how this is going to go down, but it's going to be temporary. Because and especially when I was hearing that, where they were saying it's going to cause all these problems, I was, well, that makes sense then of what the QFS is going to just jump right in there real quick and become our new money thing. So, but it will be, if that goes down, you could see it would be traumatic for some people for a couple days. But I think it's going to, I think that we're at this thing with the money thing. I think it's all about to crash. Joe doesn't even know which direction is the stage anymore. Like, I've seen people, there's people who are doing videos that they want Jim Carrey to get an Oscar for his Joe Biden performance. I'll be so curious to see who all's playing Joe. And there's other people too I've seen doing videos who are, they're like, are you guys expecting that Scooby-Doo moment all of a sudden where they just take the masks off? Because I am. That's how I feel too. That would be so hilarious. That would really be an eye opener for so many people. All of a sudden, then just the mask come off. I'm just like, it would be really funny too if they had a mask and then pulled a mask and then pulled a mask. I can make it really a funny show. Um, turn that frown upside down. And but so anyways, I'm sure these guys are coming back. I hope this shit goes down. Like, if they are IRS, like whatever thing that the government official would be trying to just harass me on, that they do this thing as like called doxing, and they do all sorts of stuff to people who speak out if your name gets on the thing. And I know my name's on the thing because the Secret Service game. And I've heard a lot of big content creators. I've never heard any of them say they came and got investigated. So I know I'm on a list. And, but, I think I've been on that list since the Bush era. So the junior. And so, anyways, I know, unless if the guy, because that's what I was saying before too about the cops, and they're laying a bunch of cops off all over the place, and teachers, like, you're not gonna get a paycheck. Like, why would the teachers or the cops or the librarian, why would anybody that gets paid by the government go to work Monday? Like, are they stopping and thinking about it? Are they thinking, am I gonna get paid, or am I just gonna go to work because that's what I do? Like, because if the government's not gonna pay, they're not going to pay you. So how much work are you going to go in and do before you get that? And some of these people get paid on the month. And they're so robotic. They're so in their lower chakras. They don't have time to heal. They got to get to work. So that they don't process. They don't stop and process and think about what's happening. They're just going. And they're caught up in an energy that is controlling them. And so it's, I don't know. It's going to be a breakdown in a lot of different places in a lot of different ways. But, any of these officials, if they're not going to be getting paid, why would they be going and harassing people? And they've got to start worrying about themselves, like worrying about their own bills and shit. Like these people who are out here trying to harass us and collect from us and all that, these robots for the knee breakers. And, they've got to start stopping and thinking about their own stuff. They've got to get this human compassion and tune into their own lives and stuff. Oh, what was that? Because it was something, that is a big thing that I think is happening. It is so, I just see it so clear in the energy. And unless, you see what I see, this, some of the things I say is not going to make sense because, of how I see it. But this immigration thing, it's such a common denominator where I keep hearing these people getting so mad at this other group over their rights. Like right now, for it to even come up, for that to be the thing, is so all these immigrants were told that they were coaxed over here, that there was going to be all this stuff waiting here. There was, houses and everything was here for them to all migrate over here, which I think that there's a purpose to this migration, like I said. I think it has to do with the cataclysm happening. It has to do with the awakening, and the awakening has to do with you looking at yourself and understanding and figuring out what directs you, why you do the things you do. And it's a hard look at yourself, and it's one that is easy to be distracted from. And that's why they keep you in a distracted mode all the time. So I'm not trying to judge any of these people. No harm, no foul. But we have to take a look at some of this stuff. We have to see it. We have to stand here in observation, and some of these things we have to see. And this is, one of the things that people, that they don't care about other people's human rights. They're willing to other people to lose their human rights as long as my rights are protected. So there's not a human bond. There's not a bond between us all as humans. That is why this stuff is happening. is we have to come together, not in division, not over what color t-shirt, what color hat, what color skin, what size, what age, any of these things. You know, all of the superficial, shallow things are all things that are just that. They're superficial and shallow. They're surface level. Everything is got to be more to the depths. And so, but people are so stuck in the shallow and the superficial, and they're not taking the time to go in and see, like, oh, if I start saying this, I'm going against these people's rights. So the migrants are out there picketing, and they're mad at the government for saying that they were offering them things to come here, and now they're out in the streets, they're out in the flood, they're out in, you know, horrible conditions. They left homes and stuff to come here, and which again I think is a part of this moving people into safer places. And because a lot of these places are going to be underwater, and we could go look at the maps in like South America, go look at you know, some of all of the different coastal lines are going to be changing, and some of the places are going to be islands are going to be gone. I think there's only one Hawaiian Islands that's left after all of this, and it might just be the mountaintop of one, you know, because that's what it seems like. The water's going to raise so much that it seems like a lot of the land is going to be mountains, but it seems weirdly that the mountain range is going to become like the ice wall kind of, because all the rest of it doesn't fill in with water. It starts being like land. So it's like the mountains will hold the water back from going across the land. But it seems like that we would all be in a valley kind of. I don't know. We got to just see what it's going to be like. But when you look at the map thing, you know, I study that doomsday map a little too much probably, but I don't do it all the time. But, you know, it's all spectrum. It all depends on how you feel about it. If you feel like you're doing something too much, are you thinking about it too much? What are you doing? How does it make you feel? Not anything about how to make somebody else feel. What does anybody else think about it? It's only about how you feel about it, because it's your steering. It's you that's trying to help yourself feel better. And so you got to recognize and see the things that don't make you feel good. And then you got to figure out how to maneuver the information, you know, and sometimes it takes, you know, breathing and calming and stuff like that. You know, yesterday I went straight in to go and talk to everybody live. So it made me feel so much less alone. I was like the overwhelming thing, you know, when the guy starts, you know, are you Kelly? And I'm like, no. Thanks, Dad. And he's like, you're not Kelly. And I said, no. And he goes, well, I'm looking for Kelly, and, you know, flips out his ID thing. It wasn't a badge. It was definitely like a white laminated two-sided thing. One side was an emblem and the other side was something else. But I could make out that there was an emblem there, but I couldn't see it good, because I didn't want to focus in on it. I didn't want him to think at all that I had any fucking interest. And I'll still say I'm not Kelly. I'm not going to go by their straw man bullshit. You know, I can be whoever the fuck I want to be. I'm a living person. I'm not in your fucking game. And so, you know, that's where I'll go next. I've seen people still be arrested and stuff. They won't acknowledge it. And I saw one guy, he was calling out codes and stuff. It's like once you start knowing the codes, but when you have a brain injury, it's like I'm gonna have to have tattooed on me code. You know, yesterday I was Jeremiah Kruger. He was on the live, and I was like, oh, that name looks so familiar. And he said, oh, because we've talked in comments. But that's the thing is like, that's why I always say, if we've had a conversation in comments, just remember I have a brain injury. Like I won't remember conversations and stuff. You have to remind me of things, because those things just don't stick. There's things that grab hold of an old memory and hold on. But most of my day It just glides through, which was a part of what was, part of my adapting to a brain injury. It was a big change, as I was very control freak, type A, neurotic, kind of person before. And so then to have to just let go, and, is freaky. I felt like I was in a dream all the time. Like I would just go from one dream to the next. And then the not remembering. And then when I would have people tell me and stuff, things that I did and things that I said, and I would think, okay, this is, when I watch those movies, it is very creepy when you get a brain injury and people tell you, and you have no memory of it. And it really messes with your trust issues. It really gets you to see, like, I wouldn't really say something like that. Like, this is your perception, and now you're giving your perception, feeding it into me as it's my perception. So it really fucks with your head. And, a lot of people lose it after getting brain injuries too. And brain injuries are all very unique in upon themselves. And I know mine had to do with my lessons, learning to trust. I mean, they even told me when I started losing my sight that came from my brain injury that, but then everything they did, all their treatments made it worse and worse and worse. And now to know that the lights, everything they do is to make it worse and worse. But when I started losing my sight, they even told me, because they wanted me to focus on my insight, not, it's like they, to me, we need to witness what's happening. We can't turn a blind eye. That's, these love and light people who think turn a blind eye. They're the same ones who think, you got to go out and get revenge for yourself. It's like they don't understand the universe. Even when they go out and they, do a video of them dancing to the universal laws, it's like, it's not a show. This is real. Like, you got to live by these laws. You've got to trust these laws. That is your spiritual journey, is to learn to trust the universe. Learn to trust yourself. Learn to go into, to enjoy the ride. It is, not fighting it. And they're all about this. Well, manifest this. Take control of that. Oh, I've seen now. Now you're on a new timeline, in case you didn't know. The Schumann resonance had a blackout. So you are now on your best timeline. That's it. You're on your best one. If things aren't going good, sorry, you're on your best one. It's like, come on, you guys, shut the fuck up. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They don't understand anything about the awakening. They still think they're goddamn chosen. So there's so much to this whole thing, And there's so much to each person's. It's an independent journey. And there's so many lessons, group lessons happening and stuff. But yeah, the spiritual people are not all awake. I mean, you got to remember they were referring to themselves as woke a couple weeks ago, and a lot of them still do. They still don't understand the same thing of being woke and the awakening. The awakening is consciousness becoming aware of itself, to begin to question, to take the wheel. It is like when you are on autopilot, it is your avatar is driving your soul around, and your soul keeps trying to tell them which way to go, but the avatar is sure, because they're watching, what this person thinks, what that person thinks, and they got the ego. It's fucking loud, and they're telling them, they got all this dark energy in there telling them which way to go and what to do and how to get there. So you got all this noise going on up in here, and soul is back here just kind of like, well, trying to tell you, well, you should have gone that way. Well, I told you we should have said, I could tell you what's going on there, but you aren't listening. And so you are caught up in the story, in the program. And so you're listening to that. So as you awaken, you start realizing, wait a minute, this feels weird. This looks weird. The sky looks weird. Like, wait a minute. Where are we? What's going on here? You start questioning your reality. You start questioning, like, things as you are awakening. And a part of that woke movement was you start questioning deep things about, how we treat each other, and the division and stuff. And so the woke movement was, because, back in 2016, I referred to myself as woke, and then it got swallowed up, and then it switched into awakening, because they took over the woke movement. But when it first started, we called it woke. And because you woke up to this, you woke up to that, you were constantly waking up to all these crazy things, like, ugh, and then you're just woke. It's just like, ugh, I'm just woke. I'm just sitting here like, and it changes your outlook on life. That's the awakening. As these people wake up, see, they get still trapped in their mind. They think they're all, but there's their ego. It just is so fucking loud. And you're listening. This is all a lot of noise because it's unhealed. And that is where you got to get control of your mind. So that's why I keep saying there's so many people who think that they're awake and think they're doing so good. They're out there leading the pack. They're the chosen. They're going to be, all this stuff. But they aren't awake yet. They're still being fed by their ego. And they're only, a little ways in. There's just such a process. And, they show themselves in the things that they say. You have to do this. Oh, well, now we're all on our best timelines. You must stop eating meat if you want things to go better. You have to focus on your vibration all the time. You cannot, if you can keep your vibration up through all this stuff, like, I don't even know. Like, I would say, that you have got to be oblivious or unfeeling in the world to be able to keep your vibration up through all of the trauma, just the energy alone on the planet. So all this stuff happening, and you just are, your vibration's got to be up. You got to feel the world. You got to experience, your vibration is going to fluctuate just as the water moves. You go with the flow. You don't get stuck. You don't go held back. You go with the flow of what's happening. And, one of the things is that a lot of people, you hit a bump, you hit a rock, and, they hurt their knee, and, maybe they broke their arm, they got traumatized, something hurt them, and they get stuck there. They just get stuck and just keep hitting that rock, keep hitting that rock, keep hitting that rock. They can't get over that rock. And that is, that is where you want to heal what happened. Heal what you went through. You got to go in and look deeper. And yeah, there's people out there that are going to do things that are going to hurt you. But there is a positive side to the hurt and the pain. That's the yin and the yang. There's the good side. You got to get out of the bad side and get into the good side. You got to get out of the trauma of what happened and heal it so you can get into the good side, where it turns you into stronger, more compassionate. It transforms you. So, but when you stay stuck in the dark, when you stay stuck in the trauma, it holds you back. And so, that is getting into this flow of, it's bad things happen, but it is, why is it happening? What's the outcome? What's the second part? What happens when you turn the page? And some people, it's like they can't turn the page. They just got to keep rereading it, trying to find a loophole. Just turn the page. Everything is temporary. Everything is moving. Things are always changing. Your story is already written. It's all going for you. You are the one who holds back your story. So you got to get into the flow of your own story. And so, and I don't know what this storyline is with this, guy coming to my gate thing. It definitely has me nervous, like where I keep thinking, almost like going out of my gate is going out like, oh, could they nab me? Which I don't even know. But if there was like some kind of papers, there's a drop box at the end of my thing. And, it has no trespassing and stuff. and it has a dog sign, the dog patrol. My mom sent me one. It's a different kind of mastiff, but still, most people don't know what kind of mastiff is what. So it is a sign. It's patrolled by the dog, and because there's certain things you gotta post. And so it's patrolled by the dog, and it's no trespassing. But there's a drop box where you can leave my mail, and there's also the government mailbox that you're not supposed to use. So you leave anything other than, USPS. Yeah, but there's still a drop box where they could leave the papers. And besides, they've taped them to the end of my goddamn gate. They've taped them right out there on the road. So, if they had some paperwork that they were just trying to leave, they want contact with me because there's something like the only reason I feel like that they would want contact is to bully me, maybe arrest me. I mean, they could come up with I didn't pay that ticket that I got, I don't know, a year ago. My daughter looked it up though, and it didn't show I had a warrant, but that would have been a cop that would come. I don't know. I just know, like, in this doxing thing, like the people who go out and speak, that you start getting harassed. You get harassment by government. So people get arrested and stuff. And that's a big thing that's going on right now, too, that's being disclosed out, is, what they did to all these citizens for January, SIX. Because of that whole situation. They went over people's rights. There's so many people's rights that have been broken. But people don't realize that we have human rights. And then when they're sitting there, like these migrants and stuff are screaming in our streets about their human rights. And then you have the American citizens, how dare them? How dare them speak of their rights in our country? This is our land. Our land. Let's get our flag. Let's everybody get our flag. This is our land. This is our rights. You guys don't get rights because it's our rights. It's like, you guys, you should be out there standing together and saying, what the fuck? Yeah, you told them to come. Yeah, we're marching in human rights. We're going to, this is an opportunity to come together. Because that is what, it's all about. Sorry to say, it's not about revenge and getting even. It's about unity and coming together. And that's, the people who can, the people who are motivated in that direction are going to be the seeders of the new world. Because it's inside them. It's a part of them to see. This is about coming together in love and unity. I would imagine in some of these groups that there's probably some people, we're tapped in and to the universe, I would guess, is where some of us get that's where I get my information. And so that they're being motivated to try and redirect crowds and help them to see. But no matter what, the universal hand, the hand of God is going to flip a switch. It's going to make it clear. That's, the thing I keep talking about. It's going to become a huge clarity for all of us. And it's going to be dramatic. Like, we're going to really see. We're going to see things actually switch. And don't listen to these people sit there and say, okay, you're on your best timeline. That is going to fuck with your head. You'll know when you're on your best timeline. Your own soul will tell you. Your own being will say. You'll feel it. It will let you know. It will send you the things. And but until then, you're healing your old timelines. You're healing relationships. You're finding your footing. You're finding your ground of who you are. You're re-navigating, renegotiating your entire being. Like, you literally have all these people out here during this giant thing about crimes against humanity and human rights, and they are breaking it down to territory and land, and and there's so many people out there who are ready to fight. This is so they can see that side of themselves. It's not going to go, it will go into some of that, because it's got to have the drama factor. We got to see, like, oh, this is really going, This isn't just a bunch of talk. Like, there will be some horrible, I'm sure that we've already got some fights, some horrible things going on. Supposedly New York's still underwater, which I don't know if it is or not. And what was I gonna say? Here, it seemed like the weather was clear. It's just super, super cold. It is so cold. It feels like winter. It's so weird to think like, well, today's October 1st. But usually, even in the beginning of October, you can still be outside and, not have a sweater on. But I've gone out with a hat, gloves, and a coat now. It's like super cold. I've had a couple of fires even. So I don't know. I just, I don't know what's going to go on here. I don't know if we're being set up for some other kind of weather thing. I don't know what. I think that the whatever is going on, that they're going to try and block the financial thing. But maybe it is just these now I have to keep coughing. Hold on. But now maybe it is maybe that will be the big thing. And it's already going down. Oh my gosh, my throat is so scratchy. That is too, with this fucking weather, it is it makes me feel so stopped up, like allergy season. It feels so much like allergy season. I should just go because I can't quit coughing now. Oh, I don't know what the hell. It's like this deep tickle right here. It keeps going and going. My other one, my live one from last night, it is still downloading. So I don't know how long this one's going to take now. If it's going to take a long while. I already coughed so much this morning. I'm so stopped up. And it's not even just like super like compacted where I can't breathe, which is like that. But it is also drippy. And my nose will just keep dripping and dripping and dripping. So much like allergy. And yesterday morning when I got, it was so foggy. Oh my God, it was so foggy. I was like, oh my God, we're totally being, oh my God. And so it was a total fog for hours. Stella went out. And every time she goes out, she always brings shit in on her coat. So even when I don't go out, it still comes in. Even opening the door, that wind gust. And so I've seen other people catching it on their film. Because they'll go outside and they'll open and they'll see. It looks like, at night, it looks like a fog or something. I see it all the time here. It looks like... It looks like this girl said ash. It looked like tons of ash in the sky. And yeah, it looks like you see something flying through the sky. But I think it's this density. I think it's this space dust stuff that you have to look up about it. It's got all sorts of stuff in it. But that is what they are putting. That's where I think we breathe all this stuff in, the nanos, on all that stuff. And then depending on what you get in you, what it's designed to do, it depends, So I don't know, if mine are designed to go to my joints, to make all my joints stiff and achy. I know that there's a lot right up in here. And that's when they did that test, they go right up there. And then later I saw about it was they're trying to jack right through there as a place into the brain. And so it was trying to cross into the blood-brain barrier. So any of those nanos that are in this area where I always feel the crawling around is, I think, trying to get into the brain part, It's like, but for some reason, I'm telling you, it's been weird that I can feel them coming out. So maybe, the white hats have changed their frequency. maybe that they are, I don't know, leaving our bodies or something, like deparasiting us all. I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. I just know that, but there's still some in there moving around and stuff. I still feel them, like they'll try and come out this side of my eye. Usually when they're trying to go in my eye, I'll feel it go across my face, this whole sensation where it's like all these nerves the whole way, just like if you took like a tiny little needle thing, a little tiny poke, and just barely went across your skin, what that would feel like. And then you get up there, and then it feels like it's like burrowing around in my eye, and it will be like, it's weird. It's got to be something, and I can't see good anyways. So, but if it's, really tiny, but it's so creepy that when you put this shit under a microscope, like you can see numbers and stuff on it, and stuff is, their technology is just so advanced. They can just program shit into the computer and then just print it out. Like probably these fucking mosquitoes are probably printed out, and they're implanted with all these sicknesses and stuff. So I don't know. Their technology is so far beyond our imagination. But if they did make this whole treaty about that, we, in order to save us, that we would be their food source for the reptilians. But the treaty ends on 2025? Might be 2025. It's coming up here real quick. So it's like right in there with whatever's going to go on. The food treaty's up. See, now my nose is just pouring. Like, I need to keep a tissue, like an old lady. Keep a tissue in my pocket at all times. My sniffer. God, it's so wacky. See, the coughing, too, it is... The coughing attacks, too, is a lot of that junk has got to get moved out. Like when you breathe all that stuff in, that's the thing, is so many people go out and they breathe in all that stuff. We're all breathing it in all the time. And then it goes in their lungs. And it also is moving through our bodies and stuff. And it's got all sorts of junk. I know it's got like heavy metals and stuff, but anyways, you can look up about space dust, but I think that's what we keep seeing. I think that's what's in the fog. I think that's what's in the dark. I think it's everywhere. I don't know if they just fly low over us and just spray it out on us. And then, it gets us sick. It keeps us sick. It keeps us feeling bad. It keeps us, being patient. And that's what their whole thing is. Is keep them self-funded with us being sick. So anyways, but that makes also more sense about all the organs. Like, it just is, it's just so creepy. Like, we're the food source, the hidden food source for these other beings and for these goddamn vampires that run this goddamn place. It's like that they all thought, hey, well, that's a good idea. You're going to eat them. We're going to eat them too. But I think it has to do with energy. It has to do with the hormones and stuff that we put out in fear. Because that is one thing that makes like the Earth experience unique, is the avatar's ability to, these avatars are, the Ferraris of experience. So they, when we feel trauma or whatever, it puts out that big jolt. Just like when those guys pulled up and he asked me if I was Kelly, that jolt that you get of that, it's a jolt of adrenaline. It's a big energetic jolt that goes in you. It's hard to calm it down. It's hard to, when it goes, that's the fight or flight. A lot of people just, is fight or flight or whatever. It's this thing that just makes you just overwhelmed with a sensation. And that is, I think, that energy jolt that our body responds to. That's what they're trying to consume, is that energy jolt. That is why that chrome is so important. And not even just the chrome, like they also sell, like there's a reason why they, I think, take a lot of dark people, because they also steal their melanin and they sell that on the black market. Like all this stuff that they take out of people, like things that they take, it's like their energy essence. It's like an essence transmitter. It's like it's so weird how they like give us this whole thing about, you know, we're flesh and blood and we're out here spinning around on this planet out in space, just spinning. We got all these planets spinning with us and we're all just out there spinning, but nobody's out there. We keep trying to talk and nobody will listen and nobody's there for us and all this nonsense. And but in our minds that we see that, it becomes our reality. And so when something happens to our bodies, because it's weird, even the other day when I was driving and there was so much roadkill, so much lately. It's just, oh, it's horrible. It just makes me sick. Just one animal after another. And just the way it's just so splattered and stuff, and all that flesh and blood. And it's just weird. It's like it's a part of the story. It's a part of the storyline, because it's not real, but it's a part of what, you know, in order to experience flowers and trees and everything, to have a makeup of what it is. It's like the human, but even on the things that they say and stuff, it's all just like misinformation. And then the human, the avatar thing, is an illusion. It's so trippy. It's so trippy how it's it has common factors, yet it's an illusion. You can go squash something on the street and it's going to look like it is flesh and blood, but then if you raise the frequency, it just the particles just kind of quit touching. And that is why, you know, why we can't see into other realms and stuff. It is the frequency that we're focused on. The avatar limits our vision. It is kind of like the avatar, this experience. But it's so weird because we're at this totally transitional time of the experience. So you have to be in fluid with the experience. You have to be okay with what the experience was, what it is now, and what it's going to be. It's like a whole thing happening. So it's that is this transference, this transition is the process of the snake skin coming off. You know, it's this part, this rebirth, this regrowth that is occurring on the macro part of nature. So anyways, I feel lost all of a sudden. I think if there's anything else I'm supposed to talk about, if there's anything else I was going to say about any of this stuff. I keep just getting so pulled to the end of my driveway of those guys. And my problem is that Stella, who wants to lay on the porch all day long, which I think is the coolest thing. I love this big old porch dogs, big old hound dog, just likes to lay out there on the porch. I love the whole aesthetic of it. I like the vibe. I like my new porch so much. And it is so much of this whole vibe. This was back when I was on Facebook and I would see this girl on her pictures. I think it must have been on one of the Mastiff things, or it could have been on a homestead thing back then. I don't remember, but I would see her pictures and it seemed like she was like in Montana or Wyoming or something. And she had this cabin and had this porch on the front. And she would get these pictures of her big old Mastiff laying out there sleeping on her porch. And I would always be like, oh, I want that. I love that. I love that porch. I love that whole look. And now I have it. That's what I'm saying. You get the things that you want. People just don't get it. They don't get how it works. I get it because it happens all the time in my life, and you just got to see it happens. So but I keep being drawn because I know that those guys are going to come back. I don't know what they want from me. I don't know what they're trying to do, if they're trying to mess with me. I'm just going to keep hoping that, if the government, this big shutdown government thing that goes on that really does, that like the white hats step in and, go into stations, the police stations, everybody go home. Just start telling people to go home. And, because it would have to be more military that would have to be out there if shit starts going down. The cops don't even know what side's up, what side's down. They're lost. They need to go help. I mean, they need to go heal. They need to go, we've got a lot of stuff to realize, and they've been used. They've been used and abused by this system, and they've got to wake up to a lot of stuff. And they all have their own individual things to wake up, because some went in and, got caught up in some bad stuff, some dark stuff. And they're going to have to see, when the light comes on and you are exposed for who you are, when you're seen for who you are truly, and there's no more hiding it, it is, it's going to be very traumatic to a lot of people. A lot of souls it's going to be a lot to get over. Like it's our worst nightmare. Everybody's had that nightmare of being somewhere and then being the only person with no clothes on and feeling totally exposed. So that is going to be what is to come for a lot of people. This total exposing of who you are. And if you don't know who you are, if you're not being clear, like for me, I know I'm not perfect. I know I've got good sides, bad sides. I'm multifaceted, and I am willing to take a look at myself, but I'm not going to change myself to please anybody else. But I'll look at myself, and I'll decide, how I feel about it. Where do I feel? And it's hard because, there's people that you really care about that have a strong influence over you. But that's what I'm talking about, is that everything is so much gray. Don't get stuck in the black and white. Remember, it's all gray. You're always in this part where you are maneuvering. You're trying to decide, and don't make abrupt changes. Go slow, slide through. As you're leaning into your boundaries, how are they affecting this other person? And so, you've got to find a happy medium to find a happy relationship. So you can't it's just not all about you. You got to remember, this person too has feelings. They also have, an experience they're encountering. So when you're coming together as two individuals, you're making a promise to one another to give respect to one another's feelings, and to acknowledge the depth of their experience. And so it is, that is when it becomes less toxic, is that understanding. Is that, in the toxic era, we were all about, however we felt, and there's a lot of extreme with boundaries, extreme, like, it's no surprise that this is finishing off this era with, if anybody makes you feel bad, just cut them out of your life. Get them all, get rid of them all. Just surround yourself with people who are nice to you. It's like, well, what kind of life, what kind of, who do you become at that point? Who are you? How do you develop? There's like so many things you got to see. That's, counterproductive. Like, if you're going to be here doing stuff, if you're going to be alive and living, then you should be doing that. You should be figuring out why you're here, why you're alive, why you're living, what you need to be doing here. It's to try and understand. It's not purposeless. It's not pointless. There's a whole reason why you're here. And so, but that can very well be your lesson, You cut yourself off from everybody. You go through this hard life. You get to your life review, and then you see how you kept yourself so contained, so separated, that you weren't getting your full experience, and you missed out on things that would have been helpful to you. And so then it's like, okay, well, just go in and do it again. And it's like a re-traumatizing yourself. To me, having, in the ascension concept of becoming the creator of your own universe, becoming, your own self. You acknowledge yourself as a sovereign, living, eternal being. When you go into that, the to me it's like there's a period of time that you can stay in like the high vibration world. Like you just go and be in high vibe and enjoying what living feels like. And then, but then there's these things that can draw you back down into this low vibration experience. And a part of this whole idea of this low vibration thing is this, there's a whole, it's not just like you go in and get one life. It's not like you can just go, well, I'm just going to go do that real quick. I just want that experience. No, it is all, to do that experience is like a package. Like, I don't think that there's a lot of just come in and do one little quick life. It's like a package deal. And you go in and you have all these experiences. It's like you experience, like you go on the merry-go-round and you go on every single ride, every single character on the merry-go-round. You have to go and sit on that experience and take the ride through sitting in that seat. So it's more like, it's a whole thing. And so, and, like when you do those reincarnation, hypnosis things, that there's so many lifetimes where people are trying to learn the same lesson over and over and over and over. You just go think about, like, this is what souls do for eternal joy. Like, it's a part of the movement of it is like the expansion of the universe. All of our lives expand it. All of our perspectives, all of our experience expands the universe, which it can go in so many more directions. It's like your mind opening. It's the same way as like you start to see things and your mind starts opening. It starts becoming so much bigger. It's just like the clothes. It can be so small when it's folded, and you unfold it and it's so much bigger. And so it is to understand the magnitude, the largeness of the experience, and to be more participant. Not like in this other way, like where people call them NPCs or something, where they're not, it is more of a dependency on the experience than it is on, but it's a development. You develop through incarnating, because and there still is these lives that they are having an impact when you don't realize what's going on. So you have to be impacted to get the growth. So it's just, there's just so much going on about it. But as the thing, when you open yourself up to the spiritual journey, it's huge. It's vast. There's so much going on. There's so much that can be going on with you. And there's so much, but it's all on a deeper level. Much deeper than what, our 3D experiences allowed for most people to consider when they're trying to figure life out. As a matter of fact, they don't want you to think much. They just would rather, if thinking is going to be a problem, why don't you just come in and take a pill and stop thinking? Stop thinking. Let them take care of it all. And I keep seeing so much footage of this sphere. It's in Vegas, and the YouTube concert opened it or something. I don't know, but there's all this footage, and people saying, oh, it's so cool, it's so cool. But there's something just, I don't know, when I've seen some of the videos, it does something weird in my brain. And it makes my brain start doing something weird. And so I looked away from it. I just feel like that there's something more to it. You know, they don't just do things for entertainment. They don't just do things for fun for us. Like even the stadiums, you think like they've got it all set up so you can go enjoy sports. But sports is a whole money laundering thing. I mean, there's football players coming out saying now what they're practicing is their scripts. They've got certain plays, like they got to practice the plays because they're set out exactly how each game is going to go, who's going to win, who's going to get hurt at what time. Like it's all scripted. And not only that, they get all the people to participate, all of the fans to participate and get into division and choose sides. And so they get that whole energy going. And then they use the distinction is a moneymaker. So you go by paraphernalia to represent. And then so you have all of that consumerism, all of that money. But then on top of it, they create the gathering place to have all of the huge amount of people gather with all of their emotions. Then they do rituals in it. It's all an energy host. It's all about the energy. It's not for your entertainment. It's not for something for you good. They make so much money off of you. They make so much money tricking you. And then they are always siphoning your energy. Everything is about siphoning our energy. I know that's why the reptilians are eating the people, is this energy is what they get from the blood, the organs, and stuff. And there is a whole thing about that they like to have them alive so that they can scare them and eat them. They don't like them, just dead ones. That is what I had heard on that one guy. I think it was on the Laura Eisenhower one, where he was talking about when he was working on Mars and he had to work at one of those places where they transport the people. And he was saying that they like them alive. They like to kill them themselves. They don't like the ones that are already dead. He said there would be just loads of just dead bodies. It's so weird too. It's like, they make cremation such a big popular thing, but really, is anybody being cremated? Are we really, or what are these ashes that were handed back? Like it could be anything. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll all see soon. We'll know more soon. It's all coming. It's all coming out. Oh, she's probably snoring. So I feel like it's coming, and we'll see. Certain information will become more prevalent. There's so much going on with the Trump thing, the Joe thing, Hunter, money. Like everything is at the head. Everything is, this is, I think this week is going to be a good week for humanity, I think, for our movement ahead. But it's also going to be a hard week. I think it's going to be full of a lot of pain and trauma to get us there. So we'll see. We'll see how this week plays out. But the government supposedly did do the shutdown, and the big fear is that nothing will be paid. They can't pay their bills. So nothing will be paid because they can't pay them. And so who knows? Like, because that could drag out into, oh, look, these people are getting paid, but these people aren't getting paid, to make more of an impact. But who knows how this is going to go down. I hope it's going to go in a good way, and they're going to put the money thing, they're going to show us it's going. They're going to start calling us in, getting us set up on our new accounts, and we can stop worrying about that part. That part we don't have to worry about. Then the med beds things, they're supposed to be everywhere. They're supposed to be getting put everywhere. So, and the antidote for these things too. They've got some antidote that goes in, I don't know, like the colloidal gold or something, and just eats that stuff up, whatever was in it. So there's all sorts of good things happening once we get this whatever part, this explosive part that actually just knocking them. It is more of because I think they're already knocked down. I think the whole show has just been a show. I think that they already had control. It's just that there's been so much bad stuff that happens that it's hard to imagine. You keep thinking like, it's got to still be the bad people. I mean, there's so many bad things happening. So I don't know. It will be all of the stuff that we will see, I think, soon. So we'll just see how it goes. I'm just going to hope that this week the banks go. I don't have to worry about the house thing anymore, about them coming after me for the money. Because then all the people at the house place will know, not just some of us that pay attention. They will all know. Because then they will be faced with the same things of not having debt. So, a lot of people won't go to work just because of that. So then if that part, but then also whatever, these paid government employees or whatever are harassing any of us, that why they won't go to work, I would think, unless they're, getting a side job from Soros or something like Bug. I don't know. So I don't know that I guess I could still be harassed even after the bank thing. I shouldn't just expect like, oh no, now they won't come. I better just, I'll just have to keep watching. I can't help it. I do think that car was teaching somebody how to drive or something, because it went around a bunch more times. And it was two people in that car. It looked like an older person and a younger person. So I think that they were like learning how to drive or something. So but the other ones, then later I went out and I was cutting down another branch, and another car pulled up and did the same thing. Went real slow past me. And then she kind of sped up, and she was in like a white sporty kind of car, and she was all fixed. And I was like, oh, that's a real estate agent coming to look at my property. And then see me out there working. And you would think if she had any kind of introspection, any kind of inner reality, that she would see like, oh, this woman's not losing her house. She's out working on it. She's not gonna, like, I'm not surrendering shit. I'm not surrendering anything to them. I'm just refusing to give money to criminals. It doesn't matter how loud they yell, and they try and use their criminal justice system. Their criminal justice system is falling apart. All their backups have all fallen apart. So, this is the time to push in for our rights. It's like a pretty safe time. It's like it kind of feels almost like they've already had their weapons removed, and now we're standing up for ourselves. Well, I'm telling you, you don't take my house. It feels like it's pretty safe to stand up to them, but we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. I don't know. It seems like it just gets, the story gets deeper. One weekend, they're taping something into my house. Next weekend, I have another guy showing up asking who I am. He didn't ask me who I was. He kept asking me if I was Kelly. And he didn't even say my full name, which I thought was strange too. And to not even say anything about, the owner of the house or anything. All he wanted was this Kelly character. And it's like, and Kelly is a guy's name too. Like, you can't just assume. Like, they don't know if I could be Kelly's daughter. And so, and what I'm going to say though is that I'm renting this house from the owner. If they keep on harassing me, I'm just going to say, look, dude, I rent this house from the owner. They travel. I think they're out of the country. I don't know. I don't go through them. So I've got nothing to do with you. So piss off. And, just see. Oh, which, by the way, also in England, they're taking a big stand. They have been going and they've been trying to turn the whole place into surveillance everywhere. They've got them on cameras everywhere. And so all the people keep going and stealing all the cameras, taking them down. And there's nothing that the government can do. They're losing so much money. It's hilarious. So I wish that people here would go start knocking down towers and shit. But You know, people here are still in the struggle. They're still like so scared of inflation, and you know, and then they're scared of the immigrants. They're scared. Everything's so scary. But things are going to switch no matter what, and how it's going to go, we'll see. Each place has its own unique way of this happening, so we'll see how it's going to go. I sure the fuck hope that it really is already going, that the government is going to shut down, that the 4th they're going to make the announcement, they're going to start calling us in, and that we're going to start going to the redemption centers. But that is one thing that we should see then, is tomorrow, Monday, we should see that banking should start becoming financial institutions. The banks should make some kind of changeover, because there's these deadlines. There's some kind of deadlines that have been hit. So anyways, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And no matter what, I mean, we're still so close. Even if it isn't this weekend again, we're so close. Like, everything is about to go. Everything is just, it's tense, because it's like, oh my God, what are they going to do to stop it? What's going to happen next? So anyways, they can't stop it. There's no stopping it. It's just going. And that is when people are going to see their true selves. They're going to see the part they played. They're going to see their own dark side. You know, when you're out there telling other people like they don't have any rights and stuff, because this is the common denominator of all this stuff is going to be human rights. It's going to be about us connecting to who we are as human beings under God's law, not under man's law. You know, following the universal law, following God's law. So anyways, that's going to be a big change for a lot of people. So, and we'll see how that day goes. If they fucking show up again down here today, I'm sure I'll start to have a heart attack and I'll run in and go live. But that's what I said all along. I said, if shit goes down, I'll go live if stuff starts happening. And so for me, stuff is happening. Whatever the fuck they're trying to do, I don't know. But, if something happens again today, I'll go live. But we'll see, because today could be a hairy day if the banks are really going to be closed tomorrow and they are trying to stop it. Like, it just is so weird. It's like they can't stop it. It's just like they're like baby fits. Like they're just having a fit. Just like, like these people who keep going in the stores and just knocking shit over. Just going and laying on the floors, crying, throwing things and stuff. It's like what these dictators are doing too. These ones that want to rule us. It's like they're just having baby fits. But it's weird too, because I think so many of them are arrested. It's like an energy though. It's like this energy surge, this energy purge or something. And it's coming through so many people who hold that energy, if you get what I'm saying. But anyways, hopefully, I said something to help somebody. And I will go and I'll talk to you later. Bye.